Good evening and welcome to a meeting of the Chesapeake School Board. A printed agenda is available in the back of the room if you wish to follow the business items we'll be discussing this evening. Roll call, Dr. Smith.
Mr. Elijah Colon.
Here.
Ms. Malia Huddle. Mr. John McCormick.
Mr. McCormick will be joining us shortly.
Mr. Norman Poole.
Here.
Dr. Amanda Quillen. Here. Mrs. Angela Swigert. Here. Mrs. Amanda Walker.
Here.
Mr. Mike Lamonia, Vice Chair.
Here.
Mrs. Kim Scott, Chair.
Here. The next item is the adoption of the agenda. Does the superintendent or any board member wish to add or delete an item from the agenda?
Thank you, Madam Chair. No items to add to the agenda, but we will need a closed session for personnel matters and legal matters.
I'll entertain a motion for approval. So moved. All right, is there a second? So moved by Ms. Huddle and seconded by Mr. Poole. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Dr. Smith.
Motion carries with all board members present voting yes.
We will now go into the closed portion of our meeting. I'll ask Vice Chairman Lamonia to read the language to take us into closed session.
Chair Scott, I move that the board should convene in closed session pursuant to the Code of Virginia, Section 2.2-3711, subsections A1 and A7, for discussion and consideration of personnel matters to include administrative appointments and legal matters pertaining to actual or probable litigation.
Is there a second? All right. The motion has been made by Vice Chair Lamonia and seconded by Mr. Colon. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Dr. Smith.
Motion carries with all board members present voting yes.
All right. Sorry. We are now in closed session. Vice Chair Lamonia, would you please read the statement to bring us back into open session?
Chair Scott, I move that the record shows that the only items discussed in the closed meeting were those that specifically cited in the motion to convene into the closed meeting and those lawfully exempted from statutory meeting requirements.
Is there a second? Moved by Vice Chair Lamonia and seconded by Mrs. Swigert. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Dr. Smith.
Motion carries with all board members present voting yes.
Dr. Cotton, do you have items resulting from closed session?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. The following administrative appointment is submitted for board approval. Mr. Alan Walker from Coordinator of Student Transportation, Department of Transportation, to Assistant Director of Pupil Transportation, Department of Transportation, effective January 26, 2026, with your approval.
I'll entertain a motion for approval. So moved by Mr. Lamonia. Is there a second? All right, seconded by Mr. Colon. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Dr. Smith?
Motion carries with all board members present voting yes.
There being no additional items resulting from closed session, we will move on to the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. At this time, I'd like to call upon Pastor Eric Hughes from Redeemer Church, who will give the opening invocation. Afterwards, I'll ask Joven Dildy, a 5th grade student from Deep Creek Central Elementary, to lead us in the pledge. Please stand as you are able.
Shall we pray? Heavenly Father, this is the day that you have made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. We are so glad for life and breath and everything that you give to us. We're so glad and rejoice that you sent your Son to reconcile us back to you, to give us life and forgiveness of sins through his death and resurrection. We thank you for our city. Lord, we thank you for the blessings that you've poured out upon our city. Lord, I thank you for this board, and we thank you for all the families that are here to be recognized for achievement tonight. Lord, we pray that you would give wisdom and grace to this board before me now, that you would lead them as they seek to serve our city, as they seek to serve our citizens, as they seek to serve families and children in our city. We commit this time to you in Jesus' name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor Hughes and Joven. Joven, I see your family joined us tonight, as well as your principal, Dr. Robbie Bolden. Thank you for being here this evening. The first item under the awards and recognition is the 2026 Teachers of the Year. Dr. Austin.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. This evening, we are thrilled to be celebrating 4 of our teachers that you are well aware were recognized in December as being our Teachers of the Year after a thorough vetting process. So this is a celebration of not just what they do day in, day out, but also giving them the opportunity to celebrate them within this forum. So with that being said, we have with us this evening Michael Bailey, our Director of Human Resources. Mr. Bailey, if you want to wave. And we have Ms. Laurie Edgar, who's going to come to the podium and introduce each one of the recognized individuals. So again, want to thank the teachers. You can come on up. Want to thank the teachers for what you do day in, day out, and just thank you for being here this evening, and look forward to celebrating you further in this venue. So that being said, Ms. Edgar.
Thank you. Good evening, Chairman Scott, Chair Scott, Vice Chair Lamonia, school board members, Dr. Cotton, Superintendent's Cabinet, and guests. It's an honor to be here this evening to help recognize our 2026 Chesapeake Schools Teachers of the Year. Virginia has participated in the National Teacher of the Year program since 1964. In 2006, Virginia's Teacher of the Year program was renamed in honor of the 1989 Virginia and National Teacher of the Year, Dr. Mary V. Bycoveries. This award honors teachers who represent the best of teaching in Virginia. Each school division in Virginia selects a Teacher of the Year to nominate for the Virginia Teacher of the Year Award. The Virginia Department of Education selects 8 regional Teachers of the Year, and from that group, they select the Virginia Teacher of the Year. Chesapeake Schools has been proud and honored to have 3 Virginia Teachers of the Year, and we hope we'll have a 4th. Tonight, we recognize 4 exemplary educators in Chesapeake who have provided their students with the knowledge, skills, and educational experiences that will open doors to opportunity and help each student pursue their dreams. Our elementary, middle, high, and overall Chesapeake Teachers of the Year for 2026 have demonstrated excellence through their professionalism and commitment to our Chesapeake students. Their hard work and dedication positively impacts upon their classrooms, schools, and communities. It's my great pleasure to be a part of this process this evening and the recognition of our Teachers of the Year. Please now welcome Ashley Nolette, Principal of Hickory Elementary School, who will introduce our 2026 Elementary School Teacher of the Year.
Good evening. My name is Ashley Nolette, and I am the proud first-year principal of Hickory Elementary School. It is with great pride and genuine admiration that I stand before you tonight to introduce the 2025-2026 Elementary Teacher of the Year, Miss Alexis Brueggemann. Although I've only had the privilege of knowing Miss Brueggemann for a short time as a first-year principal, it was immediately clear to me, starting from our first encounter during a summer CSIP workshop, that she is a rare gem in the field of education. Her passion, determination, and unwavering dedication to our students, school, and community were evident from the start and have only grown more apparent with each passing day. In every sense, Miss Brueggemann is an educator who leads by example, quietly but powerfully. Her influence reaches far beyond her classroom walls, and her legacy is one of kindness, excellence, and true dedication. I can think of no one more deserving of this district-level recommendation. It is my absolute honor to introduce the 2026 Elementary Teacher of the Year, Mrs. Alexis Brueggemann.
Good evening. I am truly honored and grateful to be selected as Chesapeake's Elementary Teacher of the Year. This recognition means more to me than I can put into words, because teaching was a life goal of mine from an early age, 3rd grade to be exact. I became a teacher because I was lucky enough to have great teachers, teachers who saw potential, sparked curiosity, and made learning feel exciting. I was also inspired by my mom, who worked as a teacher's assistant for over 20 years before joining me at Hickory as our secretary. Helping her with even the most mundane task like cutting laminating was something that I found fun. Now, maybe not as much, but when those scissors glide just right, it is still pretty satisfying. My favorite part of teaching is taking topics that might seem boring at first and turning them into something fun, creative, and meaningful. I love finding ways to make students laugh, think, and suddenly say, "Oh, I get it." Those moments of discovery are what makes the classroom such a special place. But beyond academics, my greatest hope is that my students leave my classroom not only knowing something new, but becoming good people, kind, curious, and confident in who they are. If I can help shape both their minds and their hearts, then I know I've done my job well. Thank you for this incredible honor and for your continued support of educators and students throughout Chesapeake. Thank you.
Thank you, Alexis. If you would welcome now Michelle Farabee, principal of Deep Creek Crestwood Middle School, who will introduce our middle school 2026 Teacher of the Year.
Good evening, everyone. It is a privilege to stand before you tonight to introduce and celebrate an educator who embodies the heart and soul of our school community. This teacher is more than just an instructor. He is a mentor, a steady stream of inspiration, and a relentless advocate for every student who walks through his door. Over the past 2 years, as the proud principal of Crestwood Middle School, I have witnessed this teacher's impact in every corner of our building, whether he's transforming complex lessons into moments of mastery or offering a listening ear to a colleague in need. He leads with a rare blend of humility and passion. As indicated by his name, this teacher has unique powers to see the potential in every scholar, especially those who may not yet see it in themselves. He engages in his students in such a way that they soar like never before, and it's because of his dynamic gift that our school is stronger and our Falcons are more resilient. And now, it is my distinct pleasure to introduce the 2026 Middle School Teacher of the Year, Mr. Michael Powers, Jr.
Good evening. My name is Michael Powers. I'm an 8th grade math teacher at Crestwood Middle School, and it's an honor to stand before you as Chesapeake Middle School Teacher of the Year. As someone who was born and raised in Chesapeake, it's been a tremendous honor to be able to receive this accolade in the city that played a big role in shaping who I am today. In my journey, I've had a lot of stops. I've gone from being a medical scribe to being a manager at Chick-fil-A, saying my pleasure 1,000 times a day. Took a while to stop saying after I stopped working there, but I'm truly thankful that life's path led me in the classroom. This year, I had an opportunity to move up to 8th grade from 7th grade, and so I was able to stay with the students I taught last year. And this year, one of the greatest joys has been seeing students that were making me pull my hair out, metaphorically, last year, really make breakthroughs and persevere and really get difficult concepts that they struggled with last year. As an educator, I live for those aha moments. I also feel like as an educator, we're called to be leaders outside in the community as well. And at Crestwood, I went to the city council a couple years ago because I've wanted to advocate for the conditioning of the tennis courts. And so I felt that many students in the area weren't in a position to play tennis elsewhere. And so I say that to say I just really care about students in and out of the classroom, so much so that my wife and I, since I've worked there, have moved to the Crestwood area. And so my 1-year-old son eventually will be going to Crestwood Elementary and Crestwood Middle. And so with that perspective, living in the same neighborhood, some of the kids going on walks and hearing Mr. Powers, it's really helped me to gain empathy and to see students in a different light inside and outside the classroom. So I'm so thankful to be a part of the Crestwood community, thankful for the award, and thank you all for your time.
Thank you, Michael, and congratulations. Now, please welcome John Close, principal of Western Branch High School, who will introduce our 2026 High School Teacher of the Year.
Thank you. Good evening. It is with immense pride that I introduce Dr. Christopher Fisher, the 2026 High School Teacher of the Year. Dr. Fisher is an advanced placement United States government and politics teacher at Western Branch High School. Dr. Fisher embodies the highest ideals of educational excellence, consistently delivering instruction that is both academically rigorous and deeply transformative for our Bruins. He blends core concepts such as constitutional principles, political behavior, and civil liberties with insightful analysis and practical real-world context. He makes these complex concepts come to life through engaging dialogue and hands-on activities. Dr. Fisher's approach to teaching creates an environment where students feel empowered to voice complex opinions and grapple with difficult ethical and political questions. His students annually receive the highest school, district, and national honors because they embrace Dr. Fisher's rigorous expectations. I would be remiss if it was not stated that Dr. Fisher also coaches our Western Branch High boys tennis team. Who's going to win state this year? I'm just predicting that. He runs the tennis club for boys and girls, which runs year-round with high attendance even in the summer months. This tennis program that has been built by Dr. Fisher brings together a diverse group of students of all athletic abilities and shapes them into a community with the common goal of being competitive tennis players. His role goes well beyond that of a coach, mentoring tennis club and team members to be strong representatives of the Western Branch community. It is my pleasure to recognize Dr. Chris Fisher, the 2026 High School Teacher of the Year.
From Mr. Close's description, I think I want to take my class too. And I think we maybe need to partner with Crestwood and get some tennis going on across the city for sure. For sure. Well, good evening. I want to begin by thanking my wife, Chelsea, right over there. Our journey started back in 2003 when I was a teacher and coach and Model UN sponsor at Granby High School in Norfolk. Our first date was on Valentine's weekend, which also happened to be the weekend of the Old Dominion High School Model UN conference. Since then, Chelsea has joined me as a chaperone at that same conference more times than I can count. In fact, this coming Valentine's Day, we'll be right back in downtown Norfolk with a new group of students that includes both of our girls. Without her support and that of my daughters, Penny and Lucy, it would be impossible to maintain the level of commitment the profession demands. Being an educator is extra special to me now because my worlds have fully integrated. My daughters come to work with me every day and have been part of all the mock trials, Model UN conferences, and tennis practices since they were toddlers. In the classroom, I believe effective teaching is rooted entirely in relationships. It's about giving students the agency to lead and then bearing witness to the incredible transformation that takes place over the 70 or so instructional days in a semester. Reflecting on the 30 years of teaching since I started at Lake Taylor High School way back in 1996, and especially on the last 13 years teaching in Chesapeake, I am filled with humility. Teaching, particularly at Western Branch, has been my rudder. It has given me purpose and helped to mold my family as we've grown alongside the community. While it is truly a highlight of my career to be recognized this year, I know that teaching, coaching, and club sponsorship is a collective effort. I am surrounded by colleagues and community members who put in that same tireless work every day to build something lasting. I am honored to have been of service to the community for the last 13 years, and I thank you for this recognition.
Thank you, Christopher. And now please welcome Allie Taylor, B.M. Williams Elementary School Principal, who will introduce our 2026 Chesapeake Teacher of the Year.
Good evening. It is my honor to introduce to you Sue Ratz, the Chesapeake Teacher of the Year. Sue's impact in the classroom reflects the skill, heart, and leadership of an exceptional educator. She serves at B.M. Williams Elementary School, where she works with our English learner students and their families. She has distinguished herself through her compassion, professionalism, and unwavering belief in every student's potential. She builds strong relationships, collaborates effortlessly with colleagues, and consistently puts students at the center of everything she does. Sue's recognition is a testament not only to her talent, but to the powerful difference one dedicated educator can make. We are incredibly proud to have her representing our school and our division. Please join me in welcoming Sue Ratz.
Good evening. My name is Sue Ratz, and I am completely humbled and deeply honored to be named the Chesapeake Teacher of the Year. However, this honor does not belong to me alone. It belongs to every educator and every staff member who shows up every day, often quietly and without recognition, doing what is best for children. I also believe deeply that God places us exactly where we're meant to be. That perspective shapes everything that I do. One of the things that I love most about teaching is the opportunity to collaborate with an incredible team of teachers and staff at B.M. Williams Elementary School. I work alongside people who lead with compassion, who support one another without any hesitation, and who believe deeply in the potential of every child. When challenges arrive, which they do, we face them together. That sense of unity is what makes our school more than a building. It makes us a family. I'm especially grateful for the privilege of working with our amazing English learner students and their families. Every day, I'm reminded of their courage, their resilience, hope. They arrive with struggles, fears, and tears, but also stories, strengths, and dreams that inspire me far more than they realize. They have taught me that language is never a barrier when kindness, trust, and genuine connections come first. Teaching has shown me that the most meaningful moments often happen outside of lesson plans. When a student feels seen, when a family feels welcomed, or when a colleague feels supported. These moments are why we do this work. I'm so proud to be an educator. I'm proud to serve alongside people who believe that love, learning, and relationships truly change lives. Thank you so much for this incredible honor, and thank you to every Chesapeake teacher and staff member who continues to show up every day for students with heart and purpose. This recognition is a reminder that when educators stand together, lead with compassion, and believe in children, there is no limit to what our schools and our students can become. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. On behalf of the Human Resources Department, I offer congratulations to Alexis, Michael, Christopher, and Sue. We're very proud of each of you, and thank you for the wonderful work that you do to assist and support our Chesapeake Public Schools students. And I would like to invite you, to the four of you, to please come up and meet the board and our superintendent and his cabinet.
I did want to say something to the Teachers of the Year before they walked out. Mrs. Swigert had said at the Teachers of the Year ceremony that our Teachers of the Year could choose any profession, but they chose this one, the path of impact, of service, and of shaping the future. And on behalf of the Chesapeake School Board, we thank you for choosing this path. And from listening to your comments tonight, it's very evident why your peers nominated you for being Teachers of the Year. So thank you. We appreciate you. Have a wonderful evening. Next on our agenda is the VHSL Fall Chesapeake Champions. Dr. Smith.
Thank you, Chair Scott. Tonight, we are recognizing many of our VHSL Fall Chesapeake champions, and at this time, I am very excited to invite Mr. Paul Wilson, Director of Student Support Services, to the podium. He will be facilitating the awards for these students.
Good evening, Chair Scott, Vice Chair Lamonia, members of the school board, Dr. Cotton, and members of the superintendent's cabinet. One of the great privileges of the Department of Student Services is celebrating the achievements and successes of the students and coaches in Chesapeake Public Schools. Tonight is one of those nights as we're here to recognize the VHSL 2025-2026 Fall All-State participants and state champions in field hockey, golf, boys cross country, girls volleyball, and boys volleyball. We will recognize these students and coaches in 2 different groups tonight. Our first group of students and coaches earned VHSL First Team All-State honors in field hockey, golf, boys cross country, girls volleyball, and boys volleyball. Voted on by coaches across Virginia, earning All-State First Team honors is a remarkable achievement worthy of celebration and recognition. Students and coaches, please take one step forward when I call your name. In First Team All-State Field Hockey, we have Lexi Curtis from Great Bridge High School, and the coach is Catherine Duke. In First Team All-State Golf, we have Alexander Alligood from Grassfield High School, and the coach is Brett Lieberman. In First Team All-State Boys Cross Country, we have Gabriel Everett, Western Branch High School, and the coach is Yolanda Gaston Golden. In First Team All-State Girls Volleyball, we have Ryan Bodoff from Grassfield High School and Benisa Moore, Grassfield High School, and the coach is Sarah Heck. And in First Team All-State Boys Volleyball, we have Carson Tartone from Hickory High School. The coach is Carmen Costin. We have Jaden Norman from Indian River High School. The coach is Matthew Lawrence. And from Grassfield High School, we have Andrew Burke, Caden Augustin, Owen Griffiths, and the coach is Paul Emler. If there are any family members, staff members, or supporters in the audience here to celebrate the accomplishments of these students and coaches, please stand at this time to be recognized by the board. Congratulations to our all-state first team VHSL Fall athletes and their coaches. It's now time for you to move to the right to meet the members of the school board. In Group 2, it's my honor to recognize the VHSL Class 6 State Boys Volleyball Champions, the Grassfield Grizzlies. The name Grizzly is fitting. The Grizzly is known for its strength, intelligence, and resilience. Grizzlies are strategic. They assess the terrain, they adapt when conditions change, and they remain relentlessly focused on survival and success. Most importantly, they do not retreat when faced with adversity. This group of young men behind me embody these same qualities. After failing in the regional final to a familiar opponent, they did not fold. They studied, they adjusted, they stayed composed, and when the moment came on the stage of the state finals at Virginia State University, they left no doubt that their eyes were set on the goal ahead, and when the opportunity was in front of them, they seized it. I'm able to describe this in such great detail because I was one of the cheering fans in the gym when Grassfield High School brought home its first state championship in boys volleyball, defeating the region champion Cosby High in straight sets. To commemorate the Grizzlies' incredible season, let's watch this quick highlight video. If you look closely, you may have seen me jumping up and down in the audience back there. Tonight, we proudly celebrate the Grassfield High Grizzlies, state champions in Class 6 boys volleyball. Students and coaches, please take one step forward as I call your name. Caden Augustin, Isaiah Matthew Augustin, Silas Albrecht, Colton Amerson, Marcus Berry, Andrew Burke, Cage Kulanding, Owen Griffiths, Gianni Gutierrez, Oliver Hathaway, Joshua Holcomb, Joshua Molitor, Hugh Paneo, Jaron Mackay Salvador, Shane Wallen, Nathan Walthor, Angelo Yambo, Logan Yin, and the coach is Paul Emler. If there are any family members, staff, or supporters that are in the audience to celebrate the accomplishments of these state champions, please stand at this time to be recognized by the board. Congratulations to our Class 6 VHSL Varsity Boys Volleyball State Champions and their coaches. You can now move to the right to meet the members of the school board. Thank you, Madam Chair. That concludes my presentation for tonight.
Well, thank you. We're just so proud of all of our student athletes. Thank you for being here tonight. Next, we will move on to the hearing of citizens. Dr. Smith, are there any citizens who have requested time to speak this evening?
Under hearing of citizens, we did have one person pre-register, but it appears that they are a no-show.
All right, as there is no speakers tonight, we will now consider the consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion for approval. Moved by Ms. Weigert. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Cologne. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All opposed? Dr. Smith?
Motion carries with all board members voting yes.
Moving on to the information agenda, the first item is the monthly financial report. Mrs. Glad?
Thank you, Chair Scott. We have included financial projections for November and December 2025 in the board documents for tonight's meetings. Revenue and projected expenditures fall within the expected ranges for both months. Total realized revenue for this time period is approximately $113 million. This includes around $59 million from the state, about $50 million from the city, and the remaining funds from other local sources and the federal government. Turning to expenditures, the total projected expenditures for November and December amount to $107 million. When we include encumbrances or our financial obligations to be incurred in future months, the total projection rises to $191 million. Enrollment has continued to decline since the fall. Our latest enrollment projection is 39,347, or 553 fewer than anticipated, based on recent and historical trends. Currently, we expect projected revenue to decline by approximately $4.4 million due to several factors outlined in Governor Youngkin's December caboose bill. This reduction stems from the decline in student enrollment and a revised calculation of special education regional tuition revenue. A proposed 2% bonus in June partially offsets the decline. While current year-to-date expenditure savings are offsetting the expected decline in planned revenue, we are closely monitoring both expenditures and enrollment. March enrollment will be used to determine final state revenue, and spending will be curtailed from the plan if necessary to ensure that expenditures do not exceed either appropriated or actual revenue. Lastly, I want to share an update on the outstanding UKG project requirement that is keeping us from providing our typical financial reports. This requirement involves the personnel expenditure file upload from UKG to our financial system, PeopleSoft. Without this upload, we cannot produce comprehensive monthly financial reports. UKG has indicated that it is ready to proceed with the project and has committed dedicated resources starting late last week. To ensure a smooth transition, the Finance Division is fully engaged and prepared to support the completion of the requirement in collaboration with UKG. Finance stands ready to begin this critical work as soon as UKG is ready. While we await the completion of the file upload project, CPS's finances are actively managed and monitored. Financial controls and reviews are in place for non-personnel related expenditures in PeopleSoft and personnel related expenditures in UKG. Although it is not ideal to have personnel and non-personnel data in separate systems, we can confidently track actual expenditures and revenue against the budget across both data sources. Once the upload is complete, we will issue the comprehensive financial reports for July through December. This concludes my finance report for this evening, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
I don't see any questions, but thank you, Mrs. Glad, and thank you for taking the time to explain the UKG update. We appreciate that. The next item on the information agenda is the Culpeper Landing Attendance Zone options. Ms. Stutz.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As the board is aware, we have a new elementary school scheduled to open in the Culpeper Landing subdivision in the fall of 2027, and of course we're very excited about that. One of the tasks that must occur is the establishment of an attendance zone for the new school. Dr. Pedro Martinez, our Administrator of Planning, will present various options this evening that will be considered over the next few months before we actually ask for a vote on an option. Pedro?
Good evening. Tonight, I will be presenting the attendance zone options for the new elementary school at Culpeper Landing, which is scheduled to open in the fall of 2027. This presentation outlines our comprehensive plan to not only open a new facility, but to resolve critical capacity issues at Cedar Road, Deep Creek Central, and Grassfield Elementary Schools. Our agenda for this evening covers 4 main areas: the purpose and scope of this rezoning, including the criteria that guided our planning, a detailed review of the 4 proposed attendance zone options, the staff's recommended option, and the proposed calendar for public input and final board action. To provide context, the rezoning is intended to prepare for the new elementary school's opening in fall 2027. Our focus is on addressing severe overcrowding at the 4 schools listed on the slide, and our ultimate goal is to integrate the new elementary school in a way that improves long-term enrollment stability across the impacted area. Also, it is important to indicate that this rezoning does not impact middle or high school attendance zones. Middle or high school attendance zones will not change. During our planning and review of the current attendance zones, we made a key strategic decision regarding the scope. Originally, we looked only at the immediate Deep Creek and Grassfield areas. However, we determined that it was not feasible to provide meaningful relief to Cedar Road Elementary without including Great Bridge Primary and Intermediate. Therefore, we expanded the scope to include the Great Bridge Zone. This allows us to maximize relief across all impacted schools. Our development of these attendance zone options was guided by many factors, but the ones listed on this and the next slide were the most important. First, we developed attendance zone options that resulted in the fewest portable classrooms across all schools. Second, we strive to balance student enrollment with building capacity to reduce overcrowding. Third, we considered how these zones will impact student transportation, aiming to maintain the most efficient routing where possible. Fourth, our goal was to establish sustainable boundaries that account for future residential expansion. Finally, we aim to minimize the splitting of neighborhoods across different elementary schools whenever possible. These factors aim to establish stable and sustainable attendance zones for all affected elementary schools. It is important to recognize that these are competing criteria that were carefully balanced across all the options developed. This data highlights the urgency of our task. As shown in the table, as of October 2025, Cedar Road Elementary was at 123% capacity with 11 instructional portables. Deep Creek Central Elementary was at 159% capacity with 19 instructional portables. Deep Creek Elementary was at 115% capacity with 9 instructional portables, and Grassfield Elementary was at 145% capacity with 20 instructional portables. In contrast, both Great Bridge Primary and Intermediate schools are operating in the mid-80% range, showing some available capacity that we can leverage. The total number of portable classrooms in use across all elementary schools listed here is 59. Here is the map of our current attendance zones. I will describe the general boundaries as they stand today. All these schools are located in the southern part of the city. Both the Deep Creek Central and Deep Creek Elementary zones are in the northern and western sectors of the areas impacted, generally defined in the north by South Military Highway and the Norfolk Southern Rail Line, to the west by the border with the city of Suffolk, and to the south by the borderline with North Carolina, which is not shown here for clarity. The Grassfield Elementary Zone covers part of the southern planning area, extending toward the border with North Carolina in the south and to Shillelagh Road to the east. Cedar Road Elementary is centrally located between the Grassfield Elementary and the Great Bridge Primary and Intermediate zones. The Great Bridge Primary and Intermediate zones lie to the east, generally bounded on the east by the Chesapeake Expressway and on the north by parts of the Elizabeth River and Intra-Coastal Waterway. At present, pressure is concentrated in the central and western zones, while the eastern Great Bridge Zone has some capacity to accommodate additional students. 4 attendance zone options are being proposed. As we reviewed them, we had to take into account two primary considerations. The first one was the potential impact of approved residential developments. Most approved new developments with at least 10 units are located in the Grassfield and Cedar Road zones. Please note that regardless of the option selected, we expect students' growth is expected to persist in the Grassfield Elementary Zone, which will continue to impact its capacity. Second, the impact on transportation resources. Each option presents specific routing challenges, and some proposed boundaries may require shifting certain routes, potentially reducing efficiency. Now, let's begin with option 1. This option offers the most considerable immediate enrollment reduction for Grassfield Elementary. It was created to establish a growth buffer for Grassfield, which is the school most affected by upcoming residential development. In the table on this slide, you can compare current enrollment with the proposed numbers. The current data appears in the second and third columns, while the proposed enrollment and number of portable classrooms by school are shown in the columns highlighted in yellow. For Grassfield Elementary, capacity drops from 145% to 85%, eliminating the need for portable classrooms. Deep Creek Central's capacity drops from 159% to 91%, reducing its portable need from 19 to approximately 7. Deep Creek's capacity is reduced from 115% to 89%, reducing its portable need from 9 to approximately 5. For Cedar Road, while it shows relief, it remains slightly over capacity at 101%, down from 123%. Both Great Bridge Primary and Intermediate see increases to 96% and 93% respectively. And the new elementary school will be projected to open at 94% capacity. These maps provide a high-level view of the entire attendance zone layout for option 1. For your reference, the existing attendance zones are highlighted in color, and the new zones are identified by the colored outline. In this option, as in the next three, the pink areas are the current attendance zone for Deep Creek Elementary, the green areas are Deep Creek Central Elementary, the purple areas are Grassfield Elementary, the blue areas are Cedar Road Elementary, and the yellow areas are both Great Bridge Primary and Intermediate. You can see how the new school carves out territory from the Deep Creek Central, and Grassfield zones, while the Great Bridge Primary and Intermediate zones to the east expand slightly to absorb students from Cedar Road Elementary. On the following slides, I will provide a closer look at the proposed attendance zones for each impacted school. Here, you see the updated boundaries for Deep Creek Elementary under option 1. The boundary largely maintains its current footprint but shifts some western areas to the new school to relieve capacity. The north boundary of this zone is South Military Highway. The east boundary is the Elizabeth River. The southeast boundary is the creek named Deep Creek. Most of the southwest boundary follows Galberry Road, and when it intersects with Old Mill Road, it goes further east until it reaches the Norfolk Southern Railroad track. The west boundary is west of the Middle Lake Farms neighborhood. The only boundary that differs from the current Deep Creek Elementary attendance zone is the southwest boundary, highlighted here. All existing neighborhoods in the pink area south of this line, such as Miller's Run, will now be included in the new elementary school zone under this option. Implementing this adjustment will reduce the school's capacity from 115% to approximately 89%. Here is the proposed zone for the new elementary school. It draws from the current Deep Creek Central, and Grassfield Elementary School areas. The north boundary of this zone is both the Norfolk Southern Railroad track and most of Galberry Road. The east boundary is primarily defined by the Intra-Coastal Waterway. It also follows part of the Moses Grandy Trail and crosses the northern part of the Creekwood South neighborhood. The south boundary extends all the way to the North Carolina border. The west boundary extends all the way to the border with the city of Suffolk. Everything within the orange outline will be part of the new elementary school attendance zone. Areas in pink inside the outline are currently part of the Deep Creek Elementary Zone. Areas in green inside the outline are currently part of the Deep Creek Central Elementary Zone. And areas in purple inside the outline are currently part of the Grassfield Elementary Zone. The new school should open at approximately 94% capacity under this option. Let us now review the updated attendance zone for Deep Creek Central Elementary under option 1. The northern boundary of this zone is Deep Creek. The east boundary is part of the Elizabeth River and Dominion Boulevard. The south boundary is the Moses Grandy Trail, and the west boundary is the Intra-Coastal Waterway. Everything you see inside the orange outline will form part of the Deep Creek Central attendance zone. Areas in purple inside the outline are currently part of the Grassfield Elementary Zone. Areas in green inside the outline are currently part of the Deep Creek Central Elementary Zone. Implementing this adjustment will reduce capacity from 159% to approximately 91%. Our fourth school is Grassfield Elementary. This slide shows the updated attendance zone for this school under option 1. The northwest boundary of this zone cuts between Creekwood and Creekwood South. The northeast boundary is Moses Grandy Trail. The east boundary is, for the most part, Shillelagh Road. The south boundary extends all the way to the North Carolina border. And the west boundary is the Intra-Coastal Waterway. The only difference when compared to the current boundaries lies at the north, as highlighted in yellow. All existing neighborhoods in the purple area north of the dashed yellow lines, such as Creekwood and Mariners Point, will now be assigned to either the new elementary school or Deep Creek Central Elementary, as shown on the last two slides. Implementing this adjustment will reduce capacity at Grassfield Elementary from 145% to approximately 85%. For Cedar Road, under option 1, the boundary shrinks slightly. The north boundary of this zone is part of the Elizabeth River. The east boundary follows part of Bells, Mill Creek, and Waters Road. The south boundary follows part of Scenic Boulevard and Washington Drive. And the west boundary follows Shillelagh Road and part of Dominion Boulevard South. The area highlighted in green, which includes neighborhoods such as Washington Heights and Forest Lakes, will now be part of the Great Bridge Primary and Intermediate Attendance Zone to help relieve overcrowding at Cedar Road Elementary. Implementing this adjustment will reduce capacity at Cedar Road Elementary from 123% to approximately 101%. Finally, for option 1, we have the Great Bridge Primary and Intermediate Zones. We are proposing to use some of their available capacity to help us balance the system. The north boundary of this zone is part of the Elizabeth River and the Intracoastal Waterway. The east boundary follows the Chesapeake Expressway. The south boundary is adjacent to neighborhoods such as Berkshire Estates, Waters Bend, and Vintage Estates. And the west boundary follows part of Waters Road and part of Washington Drive. As mentioned earlier, the area highlighted in green, which includes neighborhoods such as Washington Heights and Forest Lakes, will now be part of the Great Bridge Primary and Intermediate Attendance Zone to help relieve capacity at Cedar Road Elementary. Implementing this adjustment will increase the capacity at Great Bridge Primary from 87% to approximately 96%, and at Great Bridge Intermediate from 86% to 93%. On this slide, the pros of option 1 are listed. It reduces capacity at Grassfield Elementary to roughly 85%, leaving room for students projected from approved residential developments. It is one of the top options for reducing our reliance on portable classrooms, reducing the total numbers across the impacted schools from 59 to an estimated 19. This option also preserves the highest degree of neighborhood continuity, minimizing disruption to our existing community lines. However, there are drawbacks to option 1. It does not fully solve the overcrowding at Cedar Road Elementary, which will remain just above capacity at 101%. And even though it reduces the district's overall reliance on instructional portables, Great Bridge Primary School may need at least one portable classroom depending on future enrollment trends. Now, let us look at option 2, which builds on option 1. The rationale is to provide additional relief to Cedar Road Elementary while maintaining a buffer for Grassfield. As shown on the table, under option 2, capacity at Cedar Road Elementary is estimated to drop to 95%, down from 101% under option 1. The buffer for Grassfield is smaller than that for option 1, with an estimated 91% capacity. For the remaining schools, as shown here, there were no capacity changes relative to option 1. Here is the overview map for option 2. Visually similar to option 1, the primary difference, highlighted here, lies in the boundary between Cedar Road and Grassfield, where we have shifted the Cardinal Meadows neighborhood from Cedar Road Elementary to Grassfield Elementary to help balance student enrollment between the two schools. The Deep Creek Elementary boundaries in option 2 remain consistent with option 1, maintaining that estimated 89% capacity. The new elementary school boundary also remains the same as option 1, with an estimated capacity of 94%. Deep Creek Central Elementary remains at 91% capacity in this option, consistent with the relief provided in option 1. Here is the key change. You will notice the Grassfield East boundary expands slightly compared to option 1. It now takes in the Cardinal Meadows neighborhood. This increases Grassfield's planned capacity from 86% to 91% relative to option 1, providing necessary relief for Cedar Road Elementary. Consequently, the Cedar Road zone contracts further by adjusting its northwest boundary. You still have under this option the neighborhoods in the southeast highlighted here, shifting to Great Bridge Primary and Great Bridge Intermediate. And on the northwest, under option 2, we propose to move the Cardinal Meadows neighborhood to Grassfield Elementary. By moving this neighborhood to the Grassfield Elementary zone, we estimate that the updated capacity at Cedar Road Elementary will drop to 95%, 6 percentage points lower than option 1. The Great Bridge boundaries in option 2 are identical to those in option 1, with its adjustment to the southwest portion of its current boundary, and an approximate capacity of 96% for Great Bridge Primary and 93% for Great Bridge Intermediate. Now, let us review the pros of option 2. It still allows room for growth at Grassfield, reducing capacity to about 91%. Like option 1, it significantly cuts our portable classroom needs across the impacted schools from 59 to roughly 19. And this option brings all affected elementary schools below 100% capacity. On this slide, you see the cons for option 2. To help further reduce capacity at Cedar Road Elementary, we propose moving students in the Cardinal Meadows neighborhood who live close to Cedar Road Elementary to Grassfield Elementary. Similar to option 1, Great Bridge Primary may still need a portable classroom depending on future and student growth. Let us now review option 3. This option is designed to provide the most enrollment relief and growth buffer to Cedar Road Elementary. As you can see on the table, under this option, Cedar Road Elementary's capacity is estimated to drop to 89%. On the other hand, Grassfield's estimated capacity will increase to 96% to accommodate the shift from Cedar Road Elementary. The estimated capacity at Deep Creek Elementary, Deep Creek Central Elementary, Great Bridge Primary, and Great Bridge Intermediate remains consistent with the previous options. However, additional adjustments to the new elementary school's boundaries will produce an estimated capacity of approximately 88%. This map illustrates option 3. You can see that the Cedar Road Elementary zone is the smallest here when compared to the previous two options, having shifted a larger area of its current zone in the northwest to the Grassfield Elementary Zone. We also highlighted in yellow other sections where the boundaries were adjusted relative to option 1. I will show you these on the upcoming slides. Under this option, Deep Creek Elementary remains stable at roughly 89% capacity, the same as the previous options. The new elementary school's east boundary was adjusted slightly under this option, specifically on the section enclosed by the orange dashed line. There were no changes to the pink shaded area being shifted from Deep Creek Elementary to the new elementary school as highlighted here. However, there were changes to the Deep Creek Central and Grassfield Elementary areas that would be included in the new elementary school under this option. The areas currently assigned to Deep Creek Central that will now attend the new elementary school under this option are highlighted in green. Remember that the borderline to the south extends all the way to the North Carolina border and on the west to the border with the city of Suffolk. And the areas enclosed by the purple dashed line that currently attend Grassfield Elementary will now go to the new elementary school. Under this option, we expect the new school to open at approximately 88% capacity. Deep Creek Central's elementary south and east boundary change under this option. As shown on the screen, along the orange dashed line, most of the proposed southern border now follows Cedar Road. If you trace the border from east to west, it turns northeast next to Bryant Farms, then follows Millville Road south of Summer Park at Parkview, and then heads east towards the Elizabeth River. Implementing this change will still keep the school's approximate capacity at 91%. In option 3, the Grassfield north and east boundary changes. As shown on the screen, the Grassfield Elementary proposed north border under this option differs from those in options 1 and 2. If you trace the border from east to west, it starts at the north of Sawyer's Mill and Lawrence Grove. It turns northwest between Creekwood South and Grassfield Reserve, and then it turns northeast before reaching the Elizabeth River. On the east, you can now see that both the Cardinal Meadows and Tattersall Apartments neighborhoods, currently zoned for Cedar Road Elementary, will now attend Grassfield Elementary. Implementing this adjustment will reduce capacity from 145% to approximately 96%. This map shows the updated boundaries for Cedar Road Elementary under option 3. You still have on this option the neighborhoods inside the area enclosed by the green dashed line shifting to Great Bridge Primary and Great Bridge Intermediate. On the northwest, under option 3, we propose moving the Cardinal Meadows and Tattersall Apartments neighborhood to Grassfield Elementary. By completing these adjustments, we estimate the capacity at Cedar Road Elementary will drop to 89%. The Great Bridge boundaries in option 3 are identical to those of options 1 and 2, with this adjustment to the southwest portion of its current boundary, as highlighted here, and an approximate capacity of 96% for Great Bridge Primary and 93% for Great Bridge Intermediate. Let us now review the pros of option 3. Under this option, we estimate that all schools will start operating at less than 100% capacity. This option removes approximately 39 portable classrooms, bringing the total to 20. It creates a growth buffer for Cedar Road Elementary to accommodate future enrollment. And our transportation department has ranked this as the least challenging option to implement. On this slide, you see the cons for option 3. To help further reduce capacity at Cedar Road Elementary, we propose moving students from the Cardinal Meadows neighborhood and Tattersall Apartments who live close to Cedar Road Elementary to Grassfield Elementary. Similar to options 1 and 2, Great Bridge Primary may still need a portable classroom depending on future student growth. Additionally, while Grassfield Elementary School gets immediate relief, starting at 96% leaves it less prepared to accommodate student enrollment growth expected from approved residential developments. Let's review our final attendance zone proposed adjustment, option 4. This is the only plan that excludes Great Bridge Primary and Intermediate schools from the rezoning. Under this option, although we can reduce Grassfield Elementary School's projected capacity to 84%, other schools do not fare as well. As shown in the table, Deep Creek Central Elementary will remain overcrowded at 112% capacity. Cedar Road Elementary is projected to reach 100% capacity. Deep Creek Elementary's capacity will be reduced from 115% to 94%. The new elementary school will be projected to open at 91% capacity. And, as noted earlier, both Great Bridge Primary and Intermediate will remain at their current capacity. As shown on the map, we are excluding both Great Bridge Primary and Great Bridge Intermediate schools from this option. This forces all the adjustments to happen among the schools shown on the slide, which limits our ability to relieve Deep Creek Central Elementary and Cedar Road Elementary. Let us start by reviewing Deep Creek Elementary's boundary. Notice the change in a section of the south boundary as highlighted in yellow. Instead of this boundary segment following Galberry Road, as the first three options showed, it now follows the Deep Creek. This change to the boundary increases Deep Creek Elementary's estimated capacity to 94%. It is higher than the first three options shown, but it still provides relief to the school. Part of the new school's north and east boundary under option 4 change. The segment of the north boundary that changed was the one I described earlier for Deep Creek Elementary. To the east, the boundary segment that changed is now highlighted and adjusted to include the Sawyer Mills neighborhood within the new elementary school attendance zone. These adjustments to the proposed boundaries will result in an estimated 91% capacity for the new elementary school upon opening. Now, let us look at Deep Creek Central Elementary. The section of the south boundary that changed relative to the first three options is now highlighted in yellow. As shown, if we trace the boundary from left to right, it remains north of Sawyer's Mill, then turns northeast along Cedar and Millville Road, and then turns east north of Kingston Waters until it reaches the Elizabeth River. Implementing these changes will reduce capacity at Deep Creek Central Elementary from 159% to approximately 112%. Under option 4, Grassfield Elementary's north boundary and part of its east boundary will change when compared to the first three options. The changes to the north boundary, now highlighted, were described earlier, along with the changes to the new elementary and Deep Creek Central Elementary schools. In the east, to provide some relief for Cedar Road Elementary, the Cardinal Meadows, Reserve at Grassfield, and Grassfield Crossing neighborhoods will be included in the Grassfield Elementary zone under this option. These changes will reduce Grassfield Elementary's capacity from 145% to approximately 84%. Cedar Road Elementary's northwest boundary contracts, as highlighted here and described earlier, but without using both Great Bridge Primary and Great Bridge Intermediate for relief, the school is projected to be at 100% capacity if this option is implemented. Let us now review the pros of option 4 shown here. As explained earlier, this option maintains current attendance zones for both Great Bridge Primary and Intermediate School, and will also provide a capacity buffer for Grassfield Elementary to accommodate some of the future development. Some of the cons for option 4 are shown here. Under this option, both Cedar Road and Deep Creek Central Elementary will remain at or above capacity. Similar to options 2 and 3, some students living in close proximity to Cedar Road Elementary, in this case specifically from the Cardinal Meadows, Reserve at Grassfield, and Grassfield Crossing neighborhoods, will be enrolled at Grassfield Elementary to help provide relief to Cedar Road Elementary. When compared to the first three options, option 4 provides the least relief to Deep Creek Elementary School. Something relevant to note is that although Grassfield Elementary's capacity will be projected to start at something relevant to note is that although Grassfield Elementary's capacity will be projected to start at 84%, some of the approved neighborhoods with high growth potential from Cedar Road Elementary zone were moved to Grassfield to help provide relief to Cedar Road. concentrating more of the student growth potential from approved residential developments in the Grassfield Elementary Zone. This option will also result in the least reduction in portable classrooms from 59 to 24 when compared with the first three options. And of the four options, it is the most operationally challenging for transportation, particularly regarding the alignment between the Sawyers Mill and Marsh Creek neighborhoods. This slide presents a summary table showing the percentage of capacity and the estimated number of portable classrooms required by school for each option presented. Please note that these figures are based on student enrollment data from October 2025. The percent of capacity and the number of portable classrooms needed for each school may change once the new attendance zones take effect in September 2027. After our careful review of all options presented, the staff recommends option 3. This is one of two options in which all schools are projected to be below 100% capacity. Among all options, it creates the most significant growth buffer at Cedar Road Elementary, reducing the likelihood that this area will require another rezoning in the near future. It still reduces Grassfield Elementary's capacity from 145% to approximately 96%. Transportation has identified this as the least challenging option to implement, and this option aligns with our capital improvement plan. We already have modernization plan for Deep Creek Central Elementary, and we could consider an expansion at this school if future relief is needed at Grassfield Elementary School. As a review, this slide presents a summary table of current and proposed student enrollment for each school if option 3 were implemented. Please remember that all these numbers are calculated based on student enrollment as of October 2025. The enrollment and capacity numbers for each school may differ from those shown once the new attendance zones take effect in September 2027. This slide outlines our implementation plan. The most important date to note is that the effective date for this attendance zone change is September 2027 at the start of our 2027-2028 school year. Therefore, our current 4th and 5th graders won't be affected, as they are already projected to be in middle school when these lines move. Regarding the transition of younger students, the recommendation is to implement these zones without grandfathering. While we understand that changing schools can be a transition for families, allowing students to remain in their old zones will delay relief for our overcrowded schools. Having all students move in 2027 will ensure every building operates at its projected capacity from day one. Here is our timeline moving forward. We will host an open house on February 11th at Hugo Owens Middle School from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. Staff from our planning office will be available to answer any questions you may have. Please note that there is no formal presentation and citizens may drop in at any time during this time slot. On February 23rd, we propose holding our first public hearing and work session with the school board. Then, on March 23rd, we propose holding our second public hearing and work session, at which we expect to request final action from the school board. As noted earlier, once the new attendance zones are approved, they will take effect in September 2027. I would also like to inform the board and the public that our attendance rezoning webpage is now live and can be accessed via our school district planning webpage at cpschools.com/planning. You will find on the webpage a link to access our online GIS story map, which includes full details on the Culpeper rezoning process, along with an interactive address lookup that lets families view their assigned school for each of the 4 options presented. The page also includes access to the online survey form where we are asking the community, parents, and staff members to choose their preferred attendance zone rezoning option and share their feedback. This concludes our presentation. At this time, we are happy to take any questions the board may have regarding this presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Martinez. Mr. Lamoni, I know you had a question.
I do, and a comment first. This is a lot of work. So first and foremost, thank you for all the effort you put into all the details of the presentation and for getting us up to speed. My question is really, I think I heard you say it in the beginning, and I just wanted to verify, A, that I heard it right, and B, to reiterate it if it's the case, that this does not impact in any way attendance at middle school or high schools.
Correct. It's only elementary school.
Only elementary. Thank you.
Mr. McCormick?
I'll echo with what Mr. Lamonia said, and thank you for this. I know this is a much bigger undertaking than the previous one when we were working on Crestwood and B.H. Williams. I've got a few questions, and some of this is just to kind of clarify the numbers and the capacity. And we probably had this conversation previously, but it's a good refresher for us and certainly for our families. When you're talking about capacity in relation to portables, will you confirm that portables or increasing portables does not change the capacity calculation in that specific school?
Correct. So the change in capacity, it's due to the result of as we move students to the new elementary schools, some of the classrooms, some of the support classrooms like special education will transition to that new school. So that capacity of those rooms specifically will change. So therefore, the capacity of those the original schools will change.
Well, I guess I'll rephrase the question. So, like some of the schools now have, let's say, 20 portables, but are 140% capacity.
Mm-hmm.
That's 140% capacity as in relation to the building itself, not taking into account any additional capacity based upon the portables.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, so the capacity number always remains the same for that building, whatever it was originally set at, for however many students. When you add portables, it doesn't increase the capacity with each portable that you add.
Well, it will only change depending on the mix of students. Like if we need some more additional support classrooms, then the capacity of the building may change.
Okay, and kind of to springboard off that, and this is confusing as well, and I think we've had this discussion before. When you do this rezoning and you're showing the numbers, some of the schools go under 100% capacity, but portables remain. Like for example, you had in option 3 Cedar Road at 89%. Yet there's 4 portables, whereas Great Bridge was at 93% with 0 portables. Why would you have portables when a school was under 100%?
Well, it's because of if you look at the building, the square footage is different. So some of those older schools, on there means they have less square footage. So some of the support classrooms already built into the newer schools, they were not designed. These older schools were not designed for it. So that's why we may need portables in those older schools to still support the students in the building.
So,
and excuse me, Ms. McCormick, I want to add one thing to that. We also, on this, we're fairly conservative in the portables that we took out, so they very well could be more, but we didn't want to be too excessive. Not knowing, of course, kindergarten, first grade, those students aren't here yet. So these are conservative numbers that we did for the portables. Hopefully, we'll be able to take out more.
And kind of again to clarify, because it is confusing when you see under 100%, but still a need for portables. Is it because, I guess the first question is, in setting capacity, is that a decision that the school makes, or is that a decision that's given to us through the state or some other calculation that we are required to use?
So we have capacities for, every year we revise capacities based on the school's use of each one of the classrooms. So we receive that information every year, and then we revise capacity based on that. Each classroom has assigned number of students' capacity based on the use.
And so the reason that you may have less than 100%, but still a need for portables, is a modern use of a older building that's not as efficient. Is that a reasonable explanation?
Yep, that is correct.
And so in the current modern classroom, even though capacity may be set at a certain number, you really need more than 100% of that number in order to utilize, fully utilize the building. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And the last question I had, and this is more just a procedural question on giving notice, what type of notices are going out to these impacted families? The frequency, the method, have we already started?
So in our communications department, once we are finished tonight with the presentation, there will be some communications going out between, I think it's between today and tomorrow, there will be going out to the impacted communities and schools. And we will be on our end doing some meetings at the schools impacted just to provide them more information about what we presented here tonight. And we will be hosting that open house on the 11th at Hugo Owens Middle School.
What type of method? Is it going to be email, text, flyers given to students? In what capacity are we sending out notices?
So communications will be sending out emails to those to all the impacted families and staff within that zones, and then we'll be doing the in-person meetings at each one of the impacted schools and the open house on the 11th.
I just know personally, emails sometimes just stay in the abyss of emails. Are we communicating in other forms, like sending home information with each student at each school? Or
Mr. McCormick, we can answer that. Dr. Smith can respond. We have a communication plan that we put together, and I'll let Dr. Smith provide more details if that's helpful.
Yes, they've really pulled out all the stops for this particular project to make sure that our impacted families receive targeted communications, to include a push notification and a text message along with the email, to make sure that they're aware of all the resources at their disposal and the opportunity for them to drop in at the public meeting or to arrive here for those public hearings to express their concerns. There's also a survey that will be underway. So all of this, they've been sitting on their computers ready to hit go, and we said, wait until the board hears it, wait until those options are out there, and then hit go.
Okay, I appreciate that, because that's the biggest thing. You know, there's a lot of noise in everyone's daily life. This is going to impact a lot of families in ways that some will be excited about, some may not be excited about. And so just making sure that everyone has notice over notice over notice for some of these upcoming events, because it's a pretty quick turnaround for what we're doing and what the timeline. So just want to make sure that we're really making sure that every family knows about it. I appreciate it. Sorry for all the questions.
No, of course.
Mrs. Swigert?
I don't have a question at this time. I know that I'm going to. At the next meeting, I'm going to have to sit and stew on all this because it is a ton of data. I do want to give kudos to Mr. Martinez, your team, and Ms. Stutz, your team, for, as both Mr. McCormick and Mr. Lamonia said, this is an enormous lift to put together this data and information. It's a lot like that weird old analogy of pushing a Jell-O mold. You know, you poke something in and something's going to pop out on this side, and it's a constant, juggling match of trying to fit all this together in a way that works. And, I'm just appreciative of all the work that has gone into this to give us some real viable options to do this well. I do think also it's helpful to add a small piece of clarity to a question that Mr. McCormick was asking that Mr. Martinez touched on, but I think might even add a little bit of additional clarity on the question about the capacity. As Mr. Martinez said, a lot of why you might have a building that's under capacity but still have portables is related to the programs and the support that's needed. And what we mean by that, especially because it is very confusing, if we have a particularly higher number of special education students, or children that need reading reinforcement, certain programs, all of a sudden you take the same square footage of space where we one year might be able to put 25 children in it, the next year we can only put 13 in it. All of a sudden the building did not change, but the capacity dropped, because we can no longer put, based on the programs and services that we require. That's why you can see capacities change year to year, because of what the particular class looks like year in, year out. And so we may still have, a building or overall, but we have to spread the children out because they are in different programs, they have different needs, different resources. Even though the overall number is actually under capacity, we can't put them and use the space as efficiently as we like because of the programs that have to be offered. If that adds a little bit of additional clarity to that, sometimes that's hard to kind of wrap your brain around, and why it can change year to year. That's all.
Thank you. Ms. Weigert, I'm grateful that you touched on that. I was thinking the same thing as Mr. McCormick was asking his question. I was thinking, how can I help articulate that? Great questions tonight and feedback. I'm just going to echo what everybody else has said, but add a little bit more comment. I don't have a question for you, but the board has been pretty passionate about reducing and eliminating portables. And we've also been really concerned about overcapacity at our elementary schools. And we've also asked your team, Ms. Stutz, to address those with minimal impact on families and transportation, which is no small feat. But I feel like tonight you gave us 4 decent options where you addressed all of those hot topics for us, and you did a really good job. So thank you for your time on that. We're really looking forward to hearing stakeholder feedback via the survey and the opportunities for public comment. Thank you, Dr. Smith and Dr. Cotton, for elaborating on all the ways that we're going to be communicating. I agree with Mr. McCormick. This is going to impact a lot of people, and we want them to have ample opportunity to provide their feedback. I can certainly see why y'all favor option 3. just from my brief overview, I tend to favor that option as well, but I will also weigh stakeholder feedback in that decision. Thank you so much for your time. All right. The last item on the information agenda is the school improvement grants, and Dr. Joppy has been waiting so patiently for her opportunity to present. Thank you, Dr. Joppy.
And thank you, Chair Scott, Vice Chair Lamonia, members of the board, Dr. Cotton, and cabinet members. This evening, as an informational item, I'm providing a brief overview of the School Improvement Grant Program being made available to schools federally identified as needing improvement. The grant funds are intended to drive systemic change that leads to gains in student achievement and overall school performance. Federal school improvement grants are funded through a set-aside from Title I Part A, and the SIG grant applications for 2026 were made available to school divisions this month. Select schools in our division qualifying for targeted support are finalizing applications, and each school could receive up to $45,150. These federal grant funds will support comprehensive needs assessments, implementing evidence-based interventions, and monitoring progress. The grant focuses on improving student achievement, fostering community engagement, and supporting teacher development to close achievement gaps. And as always, our Department of Academic Support will work collaboratively with each identified school to finalize grant applications and implement the goals and objectives outlined in each plan. In addition, every department in the Division of Teaching and Learning will support these schools and all CPS schools. Across our departments, we're focused on a singular goal, and that's ensuring that every learner has access to a guaranteed and viable curriculum. That means every student in every classroom in every school receiving high-quality instruction aligned to rigorous standards delivered through meaningful, engaging experiences. And again, tonight I bring this to you as an informational item and will present it next month for your review and consideration for consent. Are there any questions?
I don't see any questions. Thank you so much, Dr. Joppy. There being no items on the action agenda tonight, we will move on to the superintendent's report. Dr. Cotton.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the board. I do have a couple of announcements before I go into my spotlight this evening. Chesapeake Virtual Academy applications are now available on our website for the 26-27 school year. CVA offers full and part-time online learning for K through 12 students in Chesapeake. We're one of the only school districts in the state that I'm aware of that offers this opportunity for our students. Students remain connected to their zone school and can participate in all school-sponsored activities, sports, and clubs. The deadline to apply is March 12th. Some upcoming celebrations for the month of February include Black History Month, School Board Appreciation Month, which we're looking forward to, and Career and Technical Education Month. Now on to my spotlight. Thank you again for the opportunity to share my superintendent spotlight tonight. It's been an incredible month so far, and it's my pleasure to share some of the great things that have been happening across our district over the last few weeks. We recently celebrated Virginia School Principals Week, an annual recognition declared by the Commonwealth of Virginia to celebrate the outstanding work by our educational leaders. Our district has the best principals, and we are grateful for the passion and dedication that our leaders have for their schools, their students, and their communities. You got to see several of them this evening. It was so fun to see all of the kind and creative ways our schools honored their principals, from surprise gift baskets to being paraded through halls of cheering students. I hope our leaders felt the love and appreciation they deserve. Thank you to all of our schools for participating in Virginia School Principals Week, and thank you to our principals for being such fantastic leaders. Speaking of representing Chesapeake well, the Greenbrier Intermediate School Panthers made us all proud a few weekends ago. The Greenbrier Intermediate First LEGO League team traveled to James Madison University to compete in the Virginia DC State Level Championship and took home first place in the innovation category. They were recognized for their usage of diverse resources and creative thinking. Congratulations to Dr. Rankin, the students, all the Lego team coaches. There were several coaches who were involved in making this happen, as well as Greenbrier Intermediate School as a whole, on your outstanding accomplishment and for once again showing that our students are the brightest in the state. Some of our brightest students at the Chesapeake Career Center recently got to participate in an exciting learning opportunity. The Career Center Cosmetology and Nail Tech programs hosted their Glam Expo. The Expo is a day of learning designed for students to get firsthand testimony from professionals in their fields. Students heard about different career paths and cosmetology, as well as tips and tricks for their future in the industry. Thank you to Dr. Kitchens and the cosmetology and nail tech staff at the Career Center for allowing our students to participate in exciting opportunities like this. Fifth graders at B.M. Williams Elementary experienced an exciting learning opportunity of their own last week. While learning about the era of American independence, students stepped back in time to write breakup letters to Great Britain. Students listed their reasons for separation, mimicking the list of grievances that American colonists had in the 1700s. After writing their letters, students used a feathered quill and ink to sign their letter, just like Thomas Jefferson, Ben Franklin, and John Hancock did on the Declaration of Independence. Thank you to everyone at B.M. Williams who helped bring history to life while giving our students a learning experience that they're sure to remember in a memorable way. On January 14th, I was proud to host our second Superintendent's Community Engagement Council meeting of the year. District, school, and community leaders came together at Greenbrier Country Club to discuss and share ideas on important topics such as our district's capital improvement plan and the Smith Tech School of Computer Science, Innovation, and Design. Thank you to our friends at Train who continue to sponsor these events and to everyone who participated in these meaningful conversations that guide our district. We also had the chance to collaborate with our state leaders last week. I'd like to thank the members of the school board who joined me in Richmond to visit with our legislators. It was a productive day and a wonderful opportunity to discuss important issues impacting education in Chesapeake and throughout the Commonwealth of Virginia. We look forward to working closely with these elected officials on several of our priorities for the future of Chesapeake Public Schools. To wrap up tonight, I wanted to extend my congratulations to our Power of the Peak honorees for the month of January. Congratulations to Sarah Lawrence, Coordinator of Transportation, Carol Wolgamott, I hope I said that correctly. I call her Mrs. W., teacher at Great Bridge High School, and Tawanda Shirley, Director of Exceptional Learning, for being our well-deserved winners in the Support, Teach, and Lead categories. Our next winners will be announced at the end of next month, so don't forget to nominate your own Power of the Peak winner on our employee recognition page to show your appreciation for our staff member who has impacted you. And I want to point out that our teacher, Mrs. W., was nominated by a student in her classroom, which was so powerful to go and surprise her with that student there. So, Madam Chair and members of the board, this completes my spotlight for this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Cotton. Last on our agenda this evening is board member items. Does any board member have items to bring before the group? Mrs. Walker.
Thank you. I actually just have a quick question for Ms. Stutz or Dr. Cotton, either one. In the additional resources, there was an impact statement for Viridian Reserve North, and I just wanted clarification that for that development, the impact to Southeastern Elementary of putting it at 120% capacity, that does take into consideration the current addition.
I believe the note in there refers to it, that we have a note in there that says even with the addition, we think it will because it goes higher than that.
Okay.
When we have to count level service, I think y'all know it's the current enrollment, it's the enrollment from approved residential developments in that attendance zone, and then the residential application that they're doing there. So the note we have in there is we still think they're still going to be pretty high. Not so much with current enrollment, but because of approved developments that have not been built yet but are in the books in the calculation.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Walker, for that question. I have a comment. I just want to wish a very happy birthday to Dr. Faust, who is celebrating his actual birthday with us today. Woohoo! And then a happy birthday to Mrs. Glod, who celebrated on January 22nd. Thank you for being here tonight with us. And then I also want to welcome back Mrs. Walker after her very brief maternity leave. Congratulations on your beautiful baby boy. All right, before we adjourn, I want to remind everyone that the school board will hold a special meeting immediately following this regular meeting. The purpose of that special meeting is to conduct a public hearing to give members of our community an opportunity to share their thoughts on the qualifications and characteristics they believe are important as we begin the process of selecting our next superintendent of schools. We will take a short break of about 5 minutes, which will allow anyone here who maybe had wanted to speak but you haven't had a chance to sign up to speak, that's your opportunity to go sign up. And then we will begin the second portion of this meeting. We welcome your input and appreciate you taking the time to be part of this important conversation. I declare this regular meeting adjourned.